In the current environment, it's a mixed bag. It's really about leveraging attraction methodologies as well as assessment methodologies to bring it all together to make it meaningful for the organization and the roles that we have to hire. When organizations are going through change, it's also possibly required for organizations to be articulate about what kind of mindsets are we looking for, what kind of non-technical skills are we looking for. Things that come to my mind are things like curiosity, things like resilience, being able to be agile in a ever-changing environment, to be able to connect the dots, to be able to think end-to-end. These are things that are required. These are traits that are required on a daily basis in the kind of transformation that most organizations are going through today.
They say resumes get you noticed, but resilience gets you hired. And in today's hiring landscape, that has never rung truer. The rules have changed, goalposts have shifted, and talent, it's no longer knocking. It's curating, questioning, and quietly observing. Welcome to Navigating the New Hiring Landscape, a podcast where we unpack what it truly means to hire in an era shaped by algorithms, authenticity, and a workforce that is rewriting the script on ambition. Powered by iimjobs and presented by All Things Talent, this episode explores the subtle shifts, silent trends, and big questions shaping how we discover, evaluate, and hold on to great talent. And to make sense of it all, I am joined by someone who has not just witnessed this evolution, but has led from the front. Today, I have Jharna Thammaiah as our very special guest. When it comes to decoding the complexities of hiring in a fast evolving world, few voices are as seasoned and insightful as Jharna's. As the India side people and places leader and director, HR business partner at Intuit India, Jharna has been at the forefront of shaping people's strategies that go beyond hiring, touching everything from high-performance culture and organizational design to diversity, equity, and inclusion. With over 2 decades of experience across IT products and services and a proven track record in talent transformation, coaching, and change leadership, she brings a rare blend of strategic vision and human-first thinking. Under her leadership, Intuit India has consistently been recognized as one of the best workplaces in the country. No small feat in today's competitive hiring landscape. In this episode, we dive into the shift, stumble, and standout moments in the way companies attract, assess, and retain talent. And who better to help us navigate this terrain than someone who's done it at scale and with purpose. Welcome to H.I.R.E.D, Jharna. How has it been?
Hi, Biswajit. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for all those lovely words as well. It's a pleasure to be here and having this conversation with you. Looking forward.
Likewise. Usually it's the HR asking the questions, but how the tables have turned sort of aligns with the topic as well.
Yeah, totally. I think it's always both ways, right? And that's when we have meaningful conversations, keeping the dialogues open always.
Perfect. So, Jharna, I would, since it's a topic that I personally am very eager to discuss, and so I'll start off with the very first question. Has hiring become more about marketing the job than understanding the people behind the profile?
I would say it's a mixed bag, Biswajit. I actually come from a talent acquisition background, but that was years ago when I started my career. And now when I experience talent acquisition, it is a sea of change. It's very, very different. The entire landscape is different, both in terms of the talent has to offer to us as well as what organizations are doing to attract talent. So in the current environment, I would think it's a mixed bag. It's really about leveraging attraction methodologies as well as assessment methodologies to bring it all together to make it meaningful for the organization and the roles that we have to hire. I would say that there's been a shift in our ecosystem, to your point about what talent in the external market is looking forward to, the kind of jobs that they're looking out for, the organizations that they want to join, the purpose driven career paths that people want to have. So there's a lot of complexity in what talent is looking forward to, and there's equal complexity in how organizations are transforming and the kind of talent that they are looking out for. So in an environment that we are experiencing today, I think it's a blend of being able to attract talent, but also being able to hire the right talent that has to come together to make meaningful connections. I was actually reminded of just how our India talent landscape in itself has actually evolved over the last many years. And today, if you think about the India talent landscape, we are there's so many new technologies that have emerged, and there is newer things like AI, there is things like cybersecurity, cloud computing, like all the buzzwords that are in demand today. And there are organizations going through transformation, and it's really about bringing it all together. So I would really say that it is being thoughtful about when to use marketing, what to use it for, and then blending in the assessment that we need to kind of really bring in. And India is also GCC heavy market, and that ecosystem has evolved as well. Intuit, to that extent, is like a classic example. Having spent many years here with Intuit now, we have transformed how we think about a GCC like Intuit India. We're today actually the second largest innovation hub for Intuit. It's a strategically declared growth site for us. And being a part of this evolution today, we're very, very, very thoughtful about the kind of talent that we want to attract for the kind of transformation that the company is going through. And India is actually a very, very attractive market. And that's when I think when you think about how you want to attract talent and really what kind of talent you want in a company, that blend is actually a mix and a fusion of both.
That's such a blared and an honest take, Jharna, because it's not as easy as it seems. I think it's always a two-way street, and the way you said that the blending is it's layered, it's very complicated, but it's also very evolving at the same time. Things are getting more clearer. It's reaching out to more people with the advent of technology. And I don't know, and probably does feel like in today's time, like job description these days are going through more rebranding than shampoo commercials. It's fascinating how much like storytelling has also permeated into the hiring landscape. But uh, like as you imply that if we do not actually listen to the person behind the profile, I think in the longer run the story just becomes a pitch. It also makes me wonder, once we get past the storytelling, what really keeps great talent interested. So my next question is like, how can companies attract and retain talent that thrives on change?
Yeah. I would say I think we have to be very, as organizations, we have to be very clear about the kind of change that the organization is going through in itself and being able to articulate that. Because today, like I mentioned, I think employ talent out there who's looking for a job switch or looking for opportunities is also looking for content in that opportunity. Like how would it actually influence their careers? What would they learn? Is there a purpose behind that? So when organizations are going through change, articulating that change and the vision for the change and the destination that the organization wants to go through, being able to articulate that would be important to be able to provide clarity to the talent out there and also attract the right kind of talent. So while there's a lot of immense talent in the ecosystem, it's about finding that right talent and the kind of skills that are needed for the change that the organization is going through. And I would say it's also definitely beyond technical skills. It would be a combination. Technical skill is definitely there, but even in that ecosystem, technology is evolving. So many changes that we see on a daily basis. In an environment like that, I think it would be about things beyond technical skills. It would be about a lot of other skills, mindsets, competencies that one brings. So when organizations are going through change, it's also possibly required for organizations to be articulate about what kind of mindsets are we looking for? What kind of non-technical skills are we looking for? Things that come to my mind are things like curiosity, things like resilience, being able to be agile in a ever-changing environment, to be able to connect the dots, to be able to think end to end. These are things that are required. These are traits that are required on a daily basis in the kind of transformation that most organizations are going through today. So I think it's important for companies or organizations to be very clear about what you're looking for when you're going through such kind of change. And for me, another thing that really stays and is very durable is the alignment of values. To be clear about what kind of values are we looking for in talent that we hire. Every organization has their unique culture, has their unique values that they hold true. So how are we attracting talent that aligns with that? When we bring somebody into the organization, do they align with the culture? Do they align with the values? And how do we assess that when we meet talent? So it's a combination of all of that, and I think the mindset would be of learning mindset, somebody who can really adapt very quickly, someone who can come in and help the organization transform. So these are things that come to my mind.
I think that sums up very beautifully the points that you have highlighted, like from the technical aspect to the non-technical aspect, and also permeating to soft skills as well. I think it's like a holistic setup. It's like a book with a lot of elements into it. And yes, exactly. I feel that change makers want to do more than just check in and check out. They want to skin in the game, voice in the room, and the room to experiment. Like I feel that you from the response that you have given, like it's a brilliant way to assess that creating space for intelligent risk. It's so mandatory. But at the same time, I want to probably flip the lens a bit, not to the high flyers, but to the quiet flyers. Are employees intentionally flying under the radar to avoid burnout?
That's a nice question to ask. I feel I maybe just acknowledge first that burnout is a real thing, right?
Right.
Most of us feel it, and I mean I feel it, and I'm sure others feel it as much. I'm not sure I want to say if employees are flying under the radar. I would say it actually depends on the employee and how they're thinking about it and how they're navigating through it. Our ecosystems have become pretty complex now, and burnout is a real thing. To me, what stands out is it's about really navigating it for yourself. That has shifted, like versus expecting the organization or somebody else to solve it for you. It's really a combination of what the organization can offer in terms of addressing well-being, and what the individual or the employee can do in making it real for themselves to maintain a good balance for what is important for them, both in terms of well-being as well as their professional journey. So I think I want to like maybe articulate it that way. And what I'd also say, it is also upon the organization to create a environment in the ecosystem where employees have options, and they can leverage resources, they can leverage the ecosystem, the environment that they have, or the workforce around them, to make it meaningful for them. And a big piece here is about how organizations think about well-being, or how organizations think about creating an environment where someone can bring their best version of themselves to work. A lot of nuances around how one feels about burnout, to me, is also about how one connects themselves to the work that they do in a company or in an organization. If you find purpose, or if you feel like the work that you're doing is adding value, and you see the connection to the purpose that it finally delivers, you feel very differently about work. So it's about creating that environment where one can bring the true, authentic self to work. There is a connection to the purpose. And at the same time, the organization is also creating a platform where well-being is prioritized, where there are resources, there is support, there is an environment where you can freely talk about well-being. You can use resources that matter to you. And in that context, I wanted to indicate that leaders have a critical role to play in creating a workplace where it is safe, it is well-being is prioritized, and as leaders, you can influence the kind of experiences your employees have at the workplace by actually role modeling. To me, being transparent about prioritizing well-being in itself is like a first step. Leaders themselves are going through so many challenges, and burnout might be a real thing for them. But how do they navigate? How do they make it their own? How do they be vulnerable in sharing what they're doing? Creates a safe environment for the rest of the ecosystem. So it's really about creating inclusivity in some sense, because different people navigate through this in different ways, and as an organization also providing resources where employees can leverage whatever is meaningful for them to create a well balanced ecosystem for themselves. So this is what comes to my mind in terms of leaders championing a conducive work environment themselves.
I think that wonderfully resonates and hits hard as well. I think because I believe somewhere along the way, staying invisible has sort of become a survival skill. And yet it comes at such a cost, like to innovation, to recognition, and even to succession planning. It's almost like there's a new kind of quiet quitting, like not leaving the company, probably just staying away from the spotlight.
Yeah.
And to ensure that sort of situation is not created, I think somehow there needs to be a middle ground for both the employees and the organization to find a way, and for the leadership to lead that entire spectrum of understanding to create a more cohesive environment, as you have implied in your answer. I think that works well, and I hope that organizations further adapt to this, because this is becoming more and more the talk of the town at the moment,
Yeah.
and it'll obviously continue to grow more. But and then of course there's the whole other filter of candidates that are navigating, like one that starts before a human even looks at their profile. So how are hiring algorithms shaping candidate pools before a human even sees them?
I think today everything is really about AI and bringing AI into making your workplace more productive. And to me, I think talent acquisition is one area within human resources where AI is beginning to be leveraged more than before. And to your question about how are hiring algorithms shaping like who we meet as organizations, it's definitely influencing. I feel like different organizations are in different stages of adopting AI or any of our newer technologies to making our hiring processes more effective. Today, it definitely is beginning to influence, but I guess organizations are in different stages of adopting it. From what we've experienced, talent acquisition typically would leverage it to create content as an example, or use it for making administrative work like scheduling more easier, or even in areas where you want to leverage it to candidate matching to the profiles that we have open, when especially when volumes are really huge, and then you use technology to like narrow down your talent pool so that you can focus on a few profiles which are more meaningful. So especially in high volume markets, I guess leveraging of technology to narrow down your talent candidate pool, and that's where you will land up using technology. I would say that it's always going to be a combination of interfaces where we use technology for the right thing, but use it very, very thoughtfully. Basically, blend technology with human insights. I think the combination is what is going to be critical, because it can never be one or the other alone. Because in a high volume scale situation, you would need to leverage technology to be more effective and more productive and move fast with velocity to get to the right talent pool that you want to assess. But at the same time, human intervention, human insights are very, very valuable, because in today's environment, I guess the combination of really assessing talent holistically is more critical than just looking at what is there on their resumes. So at the core of it, I would think it's again back to people, and it's about really hiring the right people or the right talent for the right job. And at that point in time, the combination of leverage of technology and human intervention is going to be important. In forward thinking organizations, I guess, leveraging technology is already taken a couple of steps. Intuit is one of those where we use technology in shaping our candidate pools. We are using technology even in terms of our talent marketing to nurture like the right kind of pool that we want to attract, making sure that we're putting out the right content out there to attract talent so that we get the right kind of applications at the first place, and then using that, just to filter in and narrow down our pool. But when we take it to the next stage, when you have like a reasonable pool of candidates to assess, that's when leadership comes in. That's when the human interface comes in, because it's also about assessing on multiple counts, right? Like if you have a profile, there are going to be multiple aspects that we would want to assess, not just the skill specific to that craft, but really about leadership, about mindsets, and that's when the human intervention would come in. I maybe want to give an example from Intuit. We have an assessment process called SS for Awesome, and this actually brings a panel together who engage with candidates to assess holistically. So we assess on craft capabilities, we assess on values, we assess on mindset, and that to me has been a very powerful platform where we try and think about candidates holistically and about the kind of leadership one could bring, and which could be durable, which could serve the organization. Because ultimately, this is an investment that we're making. Every hire is important. So you want to be able to hire the right people for the right kind of profiles in the context of the organization. So to me, this is like a good example of blending technology to attract the right talent, narrow down the pool, and then bringing in human intervention to actually assess and hire the right person.
That's seriously well put, because see the amount of technological advancements that are happening wherever, even if we are specifically talking about hiring, it's like if you go down the line, it's like chilling when you think about it, talent being filtered by machine or powerful machines assumptions. But ultimately it comes to human intervention, and I really seriously loved your point about the need for human override. Just because an algorithm can score resume does not mean that it can spot grit, resilience, or lived experiences. For that you need that amount of consciousness, that conscience to have that amount of ability to judge the person if they are the right fit for the organization, because ultimately hiring goes beyond ticking boxes. And also, like, speaking of lived experiences, let us also address diversity, not as a statistic, but probably as a strategy. So in the pursuit of diverse hiring, are we creating a checklist or a culture shift? What are the challenges that the organization face?
I would say first, I guess it's important to foundationally commit to what your belief as an organization is. And I'm maybe going to be talking about my own experience here and Intuit when I make this statement. Like our leaders often say here in Intuit that diversity is a fact and inclusion is a choice that you make. And then when we think about the customers, the diverse set of customers that we serve, we believe that having a diverse workforce would only help us serve our customers in the right way, because of the mindsets, the thought processes that we bring, even while we work on our platform and our products to serve a diverse set of customers. So it possibly begins with the organization's belief in diversity and what diversity serves, and the commitment that the organization has made. So then there is a big difference in whether it is in your belief system, or are you doing it because you have to serve a checklist. So it is fundamentally, it's a culture, it's a commitment, it's a belief. I think I would start with that. So for the organizations who have strong belief in ensuring that your workforce and your workplace is diverse and inclusive, and there is a commitment towards that, then it's all about creating the right culture and the right work environment for diversity and inclusion to thrive. So then begins what you're going to be doing, to be able to continue to sustain or enhance that work environment, and what kind of experiences you create at the workplace. So one is about creating a diverse workforce, but then also about then how are you ensuring that it's sustained, it's durable, everyone believes in it, everyone is playing a part in it, in creating that environment. And then your resources, your benefits, your processes, all of that are also aligned to creating that. In Intuit, as an example, we hold that very close to like the values that we have to demonstrate. How the what and the how, as an example, is equally important. And while the what could be about what you're delivering in terms of your goals, in terms of your outcomes, the how is about how you go about doing it. What do you do like on a daily basis to create towards delivering your goals? And that's where diversity and inclusion kind of shows up. The how is equally important. And towards this, we also make sure that we talk about this at every stage, right from our hiring processes to onboarding, to how we assess talent, to how we think about bringing our vision to life. Everywhere we speak about this, about the how. And we also enable our workforce. As an example, everybody in Intuit would go through an unconscious bias training, and that those resources are continuously available, so that we are also building awareness in ourselves about what inclusion can mean on a daily basis in the interactions that you do. We also make sure that we prioritize creating a safe and safe workspace for everybody when they come into work in Intuit. So it's a combination of mindset, it's a combination of leadership commitment, it's a combination of what kind of platforms and resources that we provide.
You started your answer by saying, I think, if I might misquote, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that diversity is a fad and inclusion
Inclusion.
is a choice. So, right,
Yes.
which speaks about intent. And yes, 100 times yes to what you said about intent over optics. It's also very refreshing to hear unpacking this entire conversation with such nuance, because again, like, it's not about ticking boxes. It is about changing who gets invited to design the box in the first place. And I think the awareness is so necessary in today's time, because you simply cannot consider any resource as indispensable. Everyone's contribution and the way they grew up shouldn't be probably a jargon during their stint at the organization, or for them being a part of the organization in the first place. And I think, again, like hiring, I believe inclusion just goes way beyond just hiring. It's also being part of the organization as well. So let us zoom out a little bit now. Probably roles themselves have shifted so much. The idea of job fit feels like it needs a version 2.0 maybe. So what does job fit really mean in the world of evolving roles and hybrid setup?
Yeah, it feels very ancient now when we use terms like job fit. uh, I think today, I think it's about really understanding where the organization is. It starts with the organization first, like I mentioned earlier, like the organization being very clear about the journey that they're going through, like what is the transformation that they're going through, what is the destination that they want to get to, what is the vision that they have, and how they think about it. And in that context, then understanding what kind of skills, capabilities, talent would you need to go through that journey. So if I possibly had to talk about like organizations going through massive transformation, then it's really, I think, about a combination of skills. You do need the specific craft skills, whether it's technology, whether it is leadership. You do need those specific craft skills which are specific to that particular role, but also a lot to do with mindsets. It's about what you bring to in terms of competencies, in terms of behaviors. A lot of that has equal play, and it's a combination of that possibly would be the right profile for the right job. So we'll have to really bring it all together, because those are the things that are really becoming more critical than ever. I was talking about the what and the how earlier. So I think the what and the how also applies here. Like you could have amazing technology skills, but if you don't know how to work in a cross-functional setup, you don't know how to like take your stakeholders along, you don't know how to collaborate, and you don't know how to navigate complex agile ecosystems, then you may not be able to bring it to life in an organization that's going through like a lot of transformation. So I would think that it's important to articulate what the organization needs in given wherever they are in the journey, and then assess talent accordingly to find the right talent for the right job, and depending on whatever level you're hiring for. So to me, beyond technology or beyond technical skills or craft skills, I think the skills related to adaptability, to be able to problem solve, to be able to work in with an agile mindset, to be continuously be okay to learning and iterating and like going through like agility is like a given today, no matter in what environment you're working in, but be able to like continuously iterate, have a learning open mindset, to be able to collaborate. All of these are critical skills, problem solving, critical thinking skills, being creative, bringing innovation to your workplace. A bit of everything is really needed. So I would go back to saying it's a combination.
Great, great. Yes, the whole idea of it earlier used to be, can this person do this job? Whereas now it's more like, can this person grow with the job?
Yeah.
So, like, as you rightly said, that flexibility and curiosity have become the new must-haves, and it again, it's like again a compelling narrative. It's very much also like an autobiographical sort of work for an organization as well as for the employees that are working there. And while we are on stretch, let us talk instinct, because sometimes no amount of data can explain why a candidate just feels right, maybe wrong. So, in the age of virtual hiring, what does gut feeling even mean anymore?
Yeah. Thank you for this question. I'm quite a believer of like going with your instinct and gut feel, but I think what has shifted for me is making informed decisions. That's how closely I relate my gut feel to like, what does gut feeling mean in today's times? I would just articulate it as taking informed decisions based on the information that is available to you regarding a situation, right? I would think that in the context of hiring, since we've been talking about hiring, how would this play up? It's about bringing all the information that you have regarding the job and the candidate together and using principles to take that decision. So you're more well informed and about the decision that you're taking. And I would also say that it is about connecting the job at hand to the requirements that are there and what the candidate brings. And what the candidate brings could be like we discussed earlier about craft skills, about like the values that they bring, the mindsets that they bring. When you have all of that information, how do you bring it all together and then use principles to take that decision? So to me, I think it's more about taking informed decisions where you have a plethora of data points, but you bring it all together and then use your judgment. So to me, this is what comes up, because there's technology that you will use. There are platforms that you will use to assess somebody, but then you bring it all together, then use your judgment on even the softer aspects like behaviors, mindsets, and values as examples.
That's such a perfect note to end on. And you know why I love the way you responded? Because it's so humane in its nature. Like, it brings back all those human signals, those like unspoken cues, the pause before answering, the way someone talks about failure, those small wins and all those things, etc. It reminds me that even in a digitized world, hiring is still very deeply human. So, on that note, Jharna, thank you so much for being with us today, for not just sharing your expertise, but like also helping us look at hiring through a more human, a more curious, and a very grounded lens. Like, your insights around change, inclusion, and intentionality could not be more timely. So, thank you once again, Jharna.
Thank you, Biswajit, for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to have this conversation with you. And I think I'll just wrap up by saying that finally it's all about the people.
Right.
So there is always a human aspect to everything that deals with people. But we use technology to make it more efficient. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you, Jharna. Thank you. To my viewers, hiring is no longer just about filling a role. It's about shaping culture, spotting potential, and building teams that can thrive through change. As we have heard today, the landscape is shifting fast, and the organizations that will stay ahead are the ones willing to slow down, listen harder, and rethink what the right hire even means. If you are a recruiter or a hiring manager or even a job seeker, this is your invitation to challenge the templates, question the algorithms, and lead with intent. Because the future of hiring is not about who gets hired next, it's about how we choose to hire differently, consciously, and human first. This is Hired by iimjobs and All Things Talent, where the way we work meets the way we think. Until next time, keep tuning in.